Welcome, everybody, to the American Space Museum. I'm Marquette. We're so glad you're with us today to stay curious. And guess what? We're going to talk about the Hubble Telescope on our green screen behind me here. Of course, 33 years ago, it was launched from Kennedy Space Center. It's been outperforming itself. 5 upgrade missions, quite a revolutionized astronomy. And today we're going to talk about the Hubble Telescope crew that launched a little bit, but about the man, Edwin Hubble, and things you never thought about this man who grew up in the Midwest. He acquired a British accent and rocked a pipe for a lot of his career there. Marty, did you know that Edwin Hubble was an excellent boxer and also led the University of Chicago to their first Big Ten championship in 1907?
I sure knew that, Mark, because you told me about that at lunch today.
Well, there you go. Thank you for lunch, by the way. My partner of 800 episode today, Marty, for Stay Curious. And we may have a glitch that we're going to try right away. Let's see if we can fix the glitch there. And if we go off right away, we'll be back. So, Marty, go ahead and see if we fix the glitch by going to 3 or 4 there.
Yeah.
No?
I can't go to 4.
Well, are you going to experiment with? There you go. Okay.
It was apparently a delayed reaction, but it finally went to 4.
Okay.
And I don't see any signs of crashing yet.
Well, this is where we crashed before, folks, so we'll just leave it there to talk about the shuttles of April. And if we do crash, we'll come right back. We've had Trekkie Techie on the line helping us out there. Thank you, Jessica, for your help. And she may have to come in and tune up our Streamlabs situation. It seems to be a Streamlabs hiccup in that program that we found a little over a year ago. Again, 800 episode today of Stay Curious. We've enjoyed bringing you space history, astronaut birthdays, and of course doing the shuttles of the month, and 16 shuttles of the month that represent 54 million miles. 95 astronauts can say in the month of April I was circling the Earth. 11 of those women. And we're going to talk about STS-31, launched 33 years ago on April 24th, 1990, with one of the biggest scientific assets ever put into space, one of the greatest things ever built, scientific instruments, ranks up there as revolutionizing things with Galileo's Hubble 8-power telescope, or the microscope, or the electron microscope, or those accelerators that smash atoms. Hubble Telescope has completely showed us a different world, a universe that we live in. And the man, Hubble, that's named after Edwin Hubble, I just want y'all to consider for a minute here, because I'm going to make me bigger, Marty, and see if we crash. I don't want to hit 3, but see if it.
You're bigger.
Hit 3 to make me bigger. No, I'm smaller. I want to be. We're testing the board here, and nothing happened with you. Hit 3. Oh, there we go. Okay, good. Okay. Well, it looks like we're doing there. Voila, I'm bigger. Thank you, Marty. Got my Gene Wright astronomy shirt on here with the planets to celebrate Edwin Hubble. You're not going to believe some fabulous things about him. He loved to hang out with the celebrities in the 1920s, like Charlie Chaplin and his peer, Einstein. But we'll get to him. Unfortunately, died young at age 63. But the shuttles of April, STS-31, was launched at 8:33 a.m. And let me see if I go forward there. There is their mission patch. Of course, the Hubble Telescope, the universe, kind of easy one to figure out there. But Marty, all these astronauts, all 5 of them had at least 2 space missions. In fact, the one that was flying for his all were veterans of 2 missions. One flying for the 3rd time would have been Steve Hawley, the true astronomer going up there. Former wife of Sally Ride, former husband of Sally Ride. Lawrence Shriver, it was his 2nd flight, the commander. Charlie Bolden, his 2nd flight. He'd be a commander after this, as he was a pilot. Mission specialist Steve Hawley 3 times. Bruce McCandless was there, our first spacewalker with the MMU, Man Maneuvering Unit. He was ready to go out there and rescue Hubble if needed be, with Kathy Sullivan on her second flight. So the highlight was going up to 380 statute miles, all right? Now, the space station's at about 225. They put Hubble up almost 400 miles high. They like keeping it up there at that. There's the crew. Let me try that and see if we crash.
No. Oh, you can't do it.
Okay. Okay. All right. There's the crew, left to right, sitting in their military garb. The Marine, Charlie Bolden, and Air Force there, Lauren Shriver. Navy, Coast Guard. She wasn't Coast Guard, but Navy was Kathy Sullivan. In the back, you got Bruce McCandless, and Steve Hawley is a civilian there. Bruce McCandless, I believe, is a Navy blazer there. So astronauts take a uniform picture. They're in their spacesuit picture. They've even taken with their dogs, as we know. Leland Melvin, if you're watching, we talk a lot about your Ridgebacks there, his beautiful dogs. And a lot of you out there, because this mission was delayed because of the Challenger disaster in 1986, a lot of you, including Mikey Haddad there. Mikey's sitting, I think he's crouched down there. Mikey Haddad is in the clean room of the Hubble Space Telescope, it being put in the vertical integration payload there, Marty. It looks like where they put the Hubble in. And Mikey does a Stay Curious with us once a month about payloads, and they're fascinating to listen to. You can see them on our YouTube channel there. So thank you for all you do, Mikey, to support us. And then we've got the Hubble Telescope, of course, being deployed in one of the classic images of the space age. This 7-foot mirror was designed to be optical, just like the human eye does, all right? And they put different instruments in there. The Webb telescope, its successor, we're going to compare it to here in a minute, is infrared. And when you think infrared, you think about seeing heat. Think about what you've seen on the TV shows where police can see people inside of a building through the walls because of the heat signature. That's what the Webb telescope's doing. The Hubble looked at the outside of the building, where the Webb can look inside and see heat structures. So, and here is some of the insides of the Hubble. All right, there we see it inside there. And a 7-foot mirror at the end. It's just basically like what we astronomers call a Dobsonian or reflecting telescope, with a secondary mirror that reflects the light off the big mirror to the different instruments. And of course, it has gyroscopes on it, not reaction control thrusters that would have took gases that would have depleted and been dangerous to reload. The reaction control is caused by spinning gyroscopes, just like the gyroscope you played with as a kid. There's 6 of them around the corners, and they move those around to move the telescope. That inertia is a physics thing that we've known for a long time works. So 33 years orbiting the Earth, doing fabulous things. And yes, sir, Robert Law, we got to brag that you were out of the Space Center, and there's the replica. Robert, one of our ace Stay Curious watchers up there in Dundee, Scotland. Hope to see you soon, my friend here. But Marty, that's a picture Robert took in front of the Hubble telescope. We've seen it many times out there. In fact, when we stand in line to get the astronaut autographs at the encounter in the afternoon, you're right under where Robert's standing there, and the mighty Atlantis space shuttle is behind there. So, well, I went out today. Marty, you did too. Saw James Newman, 4-time astronaut, 6-time spacewalker, had his hands in gloved hands all over the Hubble telescope. And he had a wonderful talk out there about being in space. And just wanted to throw that out there to talk about a minute. Where do I have him in our show here? There he is. He talked about the Hubble telescope, how fabulous it was, what a privilege it was to work on, and sending back images like this of stars in our own galaxy, okay, up close, in like a cluster of stars. But here is a comparison of the Webb telescope and the Hubble on the left to right. That's not the scale. The Hubble telescope would be much smaller compared to the Webb. The Webb has 27 27 feet diameter. Its mirror, where the Hubble's is only 7. There's your comparison there. In the individual mirror segments of the Webb, just you can see just 3 of those make up what the Hubble was. Still, to get any telescope above the cruddy atmosphere of the Earth that degrades images is the goal. While the Hubble telescope is orbiting the Earth like the moon, the Webb telescope is way out past the moon in what they call Lagrange 2. A place, there's Lagrange 1 and 2, where the Earth's gravity and the sun's gravity kind of cancels out and keeps you in the same place all the time orbiting the sun. And the spectacular images of the Hubble, like the pillars of creation shown here, were revealed by the Webb telescope to the right. Now you get the idea that the Webb is actually looking through the building, if you will, looking through some of the cosmic clouds on the left of this beautiful object in the constellation Serpens. Us amateur astronomers look for this. It's called the Eagle Nebula. I forget the Messier classification. If I had to guess, it's around that. I forget what Messier number it is. But there you see some structures look the same in infrared and others don't. Particularly, you're looking through the clouds and stars behind this structure. Look at the 4 above my head that you don't see in the Hubble image that you see in the Webb. So having the Hubble and the Webb orbiting the Earth at the same time, or not Earth, but operating the same time, is such a bonanza for astronomers. It's unbelievable. We've had our astronomer friend Eric Perlman on the show. We'll get Eric back from Florida Institute of Technology. Both these telescopes have changed everything the way we look at the universe. But you know who changed it first? Was Edwin Hubble. Stay curious, and you're going to learn how Edwin Hubble sent the physics world on upside down when he realized that the Andromeda Nebula was actually a galaxy of stars, and that our Milky Way was not the entire universe, but just one galaxy of tens of thousands, and now we know trillions. So that's what Hubble did, and why he's appropriately honored with this telescope. There it is again, floating over space. The Earth, again, a comparison of the Hubble image on the left of the Ring Nebula in Lyra the Harp. I've seen it many times in my backyard telescope. Looks like a little smoke ring, all right, or a little lozenge up there. They call it planetary nebulas because they look like a little round planet, though they're not. They're light years away. But there it is on the left, and there it is on the right. Marty, it's actually kind of, we're looking down not a ring, but sort of like a toilet paper tube, if you could imagine. A little tube we're kind of looking down through the center of. It was a star blew up thousands of years ago, and this is the remnants of it. And oh my gosh, there I am with astronaut Jim Newman, really an amiable guy. Marty, you commented about how just friendly he was to everybody. All the astronauts are friendly, but some just really kind of act like they're really interested in you. And I told him we'd take him out to dinner next time he comes in a couple months. But he gave a nice astronomy talk about his missions in the Hubble and how much they mean. And there he is talking at the astronaut encounter, talking about the Hubble Deep Field. And we thought there was a spot in the sky, all these empty areas of the sky where you don't see stars with the naked eye. Of course, you see stars there with binoculars, and then telescopes take you further. But it still seemed like there's areas of the sky, and the Hubble spent days photographing this one little area right here to find out that it was revealing galaxies. Those aren't stars. There's only 3 or 4 stars in this image, like that one right there with the crosses on it. That's a support structure inside the Hubble reflecting that light. We call it the secondary mirror. All the other objects there are galaxies, all right? And we didn't know in 1920 that there were other galaxies in the universe. We thought the Milky Way was the entire universe, that we were seeing everything. And oh no, as Hubble realized through photography, through the major telescopes around the world, we'll see one of those here in a second, Hubble realized that our Milky Way is just an island universe of thousands and thousands, and now we know trillions. All right, there's over 6,000 galaxies right here in this one picture that we thought was empty space. And the Webb telescope is even taking us deeper, because as you know, telescopes are like time machines. We see the light that as it left light years or thousands of light years ago. All right, and we look at the stars at night, and the closest star that we see at night, Sirius right now, is 8 light years away. That's why it's the brightest. Light took leaving that star left in 2015, and you're seeing it right now in your backyard. So this is one of the amazing things about astronomy and looking back in time, is we're actually seeing the beginnings of the Big Bang and the creation of the universe. Well, Edwin Hubble, there he is rocking a pipe, so fashionable back in the 20s. There is an image taken of the Andromeda galaxy that you can see with your naked eye in the fall. It's right near the, right off of the Pegasus the horse. I've shown hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people through binoculars, and you can see it's the furthest thing you could see. But we didn't know it was 2.2 million light years away, all right, that the light leaving that left over 2 million years ago, and that maybe that it was forming, maybe 65 million years ago when dinosaurs were roaming the Earth. It wasn't forming back then. It was well formed. But we looked through telescopes. It looked just like a faint nebula. We thought stars were being born there. We didn't know it was an island of stars, over 100 billion stars. Our Milky Way galaxy has over 100 billion stars. We know that this galaxy, Andromeda, is twice the size of the Milky Way, and we're actually gravitationally attracted towards each other. And just 100 years ago, Edwin Hubble started realizing these things. Well, who was Edwin Hubble? Well, he was not as smart as he was a great athlete. He was born in Marshfield, Missouri, on November 20th, 1899, but his family moved to Wheaton, Illinois in 1900. He was a gifted athlete, playing baseball, football, running track, set lots of records in high school track. He played center and shooting guard on the University of Chicago basketball team. He's on the far left there, all right. Leading the University of Chicago team to their first Big Ten conference title in 1907. So he's a champion. He was studied math and astronomy and philosophy at the University of Chicago, where he got his doctorate. He was a Rhodes Scholar, so he spent 3 years in England at Queen's College, and there he developed a British accent. Though he grew up in Wheaton, Illinois, he had a British accent all of his life. So after he was at the Rhodes Scholar, so he went to the Yerkes Observatory, the famous observatory in Chicago, where he got his PhD. Photographic Investigations of Faint Nebula was his PhD in 1917. Those nebula would later be classified as galaxies, islands of stars, where, of course, we know most stars have planets going around them. He was a World War I veteran in the Army, all right. Also, in college, he was a boxer. He loved boxing, and he was a champion boxer at the time. So quite an athlete, and Marty dispelling the nerd truth about, if you're an educated astronomer or physicist, it's like you're a nerd and can't dribble a basketball. Well, he was a champion basketball player there, sitting down there on the left there with his teammates at the University of Chicago, Edwin Hubble. So, well, this was a pioneering telescope here, as much as the Hubble telescope is today. This is the 100-inch mirror on the bottom called the Hooker telescope. And this was on a mountain outside of Los Angeles at Mount Wilson. The Hooker telescope was very prominent in Edwin Hubble's life. He was the main astronomer working with it. Photography was coming online now where they could photograph things through there, and Hubble was pioneering all that. And with this 100-inch Hooker telescope, the headlines roared in 1921. Another universe seen by astronomer. Dr. Hubble describes massive celestial bodies 700,000 light years away. That was, of course, the Andromeda Galaxy that they figured out. These are stars, not clouds. This is not like the Great Nebula of Orion that you could see with your naked eye in your backyard, and then they knew was a birth nursery of stars. But no, this was 700 light years away. And actually, we've more than doubled that since over 100 years. So what a breakthrough that another universe seen by astronomer is the headlines. Think of that and think about what we know now. Well, here's Hubble he's one of the first astronomers towards the end of his life to use the 200-inch telescope, which the mirror's at the bottom. Yes, you don't stand, you're actually inside the telescope in what they call the optical viewing cage, but most likely they're just monitoring a camera system that they put on, or spectrometer, or photometer, or other autometers on there that would measure scientific data is what you put on there. What Hubble really became famous for also was realizing that stars, all the galaxies they finally determined were not nebula, but galaxies were moving away from each other in what they call the spectrographic redshift. And this redshift was shows that things are moving away from each other, okay? Now this is the tuning fork classification that Hubble gave galaxies when he realized there were elliptical galaxies, EO to E7, elliptical galaxies. Then there were spiral galaxies that spun off like a tuning fork. And then there were barred spiral galaxies that seemed to have a middle complexity to them. Instead of having a lot of arms flowing off of them like a pinwheel, there was just several, two or three or pairs of a couple that a big bar was rotating off. And that's what our Milky Way galaxy looks like, SB. Little b there, more of a barred spiral galaxy is what we know the Milky Way looks like. We can't get 100 light years away, a million light years away from us to see it, but we've inferred that by the scientists. So Hubble devised the most commonly used system for classifying galaxies, grouping their appearance according to photographic images. He arranged them into this tuning fork, and they were called the Hubble sequence, which they believe may have something to do with the life cycle of telescopes, of galaxies, I mean. Well, Hubble, this is the deep Hubble galaxies, hundreds of galaxies seen there in just a small field of our sky, all right? And you can see the different shapes and sizes there as you look back at Hubble's classification system there. So quite a guy, Edwin Hubble. And here's Einstein, one of his contemporaries, looking through a telescope. Don't know who the other gentleman is there, but I'll bet don't recognize him as a famous scientist. But Einstein and Hubble loved being in Los Angeles. They were treated as royalty by the most famous actor of his time, Mr. Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin was not only an actor, but become a major force in the Hollywood business. And both Einstein and Hubble loved the attention they got from the adoring people of Hollywood. Here were two brainiacs. I'm sure they had a lot of fun with it. I mean, now that's a great casual look, Marty, at Einstein right there. And I mean, my God, man, find a comb. No. But yeah, there's Einstein looking through a telescope. Not sure if it's the Hooker telescope. Hubble in the background, rocking a pipe there. What a great shot there. And I would think that man might be like the maintenance guy of the telescope or something. A very important guy there. It doesn't look like a maintenance guy. I'm just saying I don't recognize him as any of the assistants or astronomers that I met. Well, what happened to Mr. Hubble? All right. When he was involved with this, revolutionizing how man was looking now at the universe. We just weren't, the Milky Way just wasn't the universe now. everything, oh my gosh. And he said this quote, "The whole thing is so much bigger than I am, I can't understand it. So I just trust myself to it and forget about it." Kind of interesting there. Though he was said to be a Presbyterian by faith, there are some reports that he kind of lost that interest in his faith later on as he realized the enormity of the universe that was being unfolded, and galaxies seemed to be flying away from each other. Nothing was coming towards our galaxy or away from us. And this was evidence of something being created like the Big Bang to fly us apart. Well, Hubble had a heart attack in July 1949, all right, on a vacation in Colorado. His wife cared for him, kind of a 4-year lingering illness. His wife, Grace Burke, was her maiden name, Grace. And he died September 28, 1953 in San Marino, California. Marty, he died the year I was born. No funeral was held for Edwin Hubble, and his wife never revealed his burial site. Now, somebody look that up, Dave Stange or Mark Usiak. They're Googling it already on their smartphone. I can hear it already, Marty. But yeah, I wonder if anyone's discovered where he is buried. But that's what Wikipedia said in the book report part of today's show. So we celebrated 30 years ago, Hubble Telescope being in space was going to be a big deal 3 years ago. What was going on 3 years ago, Marty? COVID. The country was shut down 3 years ago. And Marty and I, as crude as we could do it, were trying to bring you some entertainment and some space history and every day with our humble Stay Curious broadcast here. So everything got shut down. We, in fact, this gallery, the studio that I'm sitting in was our Hubble gallery that we had some astronauts lined up to come for the 30th anniversary on April 24th. 2020, not going to happen. And instead, we did our best and had some programs about it. So I'm going to show you we actually won a contest, and I'm going to reveal what we won was a big banner of the what they called the Cosmic Reef. And I have to figure out where that Cosmic Reef went, Marty, that big poster of that. But Cynthia Rossi's watching today. Here's Hubble's quote: "Equipped with his 5 senses, man explores the universe around him and calls the adventure science." All right, and that's all we're doing is we can't smell too much in space, we can't hear anything in space, but we can hear in the void of space, but we can hear things like the sun rumbling. All right, touching things. Again, we've touched asteroids, we've touched the moon. All right, hearing, seeing, and touching, tasting. Haven't tasted much of space, except we can infer things like alcohol in space. Well, Doug Forrest, glad that you're watching today. Thank you for your helping out Marty with the door prize there, or silent auction prize, I mean, at Marty's very successful Grumman reunion over the weekend. Tom Usiak, thank you for watching. Gary Gerald, faithful watcher up there in Collins, Georgia. Steve Hammer, Robert Law, hope you enjoyed seeing your mug up there on Stay Curious again. BioBot number 8. All right. I miss BattleBots right now. Don't have the cable. It's on History Channel. But BioBot number 8, thank you for watching. Daniel Lazarini's watching today. Dave Stange's watching. Hazel Banks, Daniel DeYoung, Carlton Bailey, and Chris Calley's watching today. All great friends of the American Space Museum and Stay Curious, and my personal friends, a lot of you out there. We've enjoyed meeting you over the years. But the main image that was released from the 30th anniversary of Hubble still sticks today, and that's this one called Cosmic Reef. What is it called, Mark? It's called the Cosmic Reef.
You're the astronomer.
That's right. I'm the astronomer. The Cosmic Reef there. What a gorgeous image there. It's actually one image, not superimposed, where it's showing you another nursery of stars being born. This nursery is over 8 light years across from Earth to the closest stars to Earth. And the star Sirius you see bright in the sky in the west. This would reach there. And then a star blew up in the lower left-hand corner there. The cosmic reef, such a beautiful thing there. And then the Webb Telescope. Oh my gosh, the Webb Telescope is showing us galaxies that are maybe 13 billion years old. The universe itself is just under maybe 15 billion years old. But there's a lot of anomalies there. As we talk to real astronomers, and not just ones like me that stay at Holiday Inn Express, okay? We talk to the real astronomers, and they say we're seeing things that don't make sense with some of the laws of physics that Edwin Hubble and greats like Einstein helped shape that we're living today. So there's a lot of things going on that we don't understand in our universe, but one thing for sure, man is smart enough to build these instruments and reach out and look up. So Marty, make me big again as we go out and say thank you to everybody. And we'll do a few beta tests on our Stay Curious Streamlabs program here. Thank you, Marty, for the wonderful work today. Thank you, Jessica Galloway, for helping us fine-tune this. And we will be back tomorrow. We're going to talk about our auction coming up on the weekend, a very important auction with some things that are worth thousands and thousands of dollars. One-of-a-kind V2 notes by the Werner von Braun, written by him at Penemunda. And then just all kinds of astronaut autographs. We've got Krista McCullough's autograph on a postal cover, the day of the Challenger astronaut, or the explosion, I mean. And Wednesday, we're going to talk more Hubble with a great friend of our museum, Barry Smith, has become a new docent. Barry worked on the Hubble Telescope, very familiar with it being a payload on the shuttle, and we're going to enjoy that. More Hubble on Wednesday as we celebrate its 33rd anniversary. And then Thursday and Friday, we'll get back ending the shuttles of the month. And I think Friday we've got the COO of Viaspace going to be here with us, Rob Fabian. So we're always trying to get a speaker or two, a conversation with a guest on Stay Curious, but otherwise we'll celebrate space history like none other. So I'm Mark Marquette, and I hope that you can be with us throughout the week and enjoy these programs as Marty and I have celebrated our 800th episode of Stay Curious, all to bridge the space between us.